Hey everybody, Bob Gager from Adobe here, and it's time to hang out with Bob. I want to spend the next couple minutes showing you a technique of how to remove a background from an image, or not actually remove a background, but to remove something that's in the background of an image that's a bit distracting. This actually came in as a request from one of our fans on Facebook of how to edit their photo, and they were nice enough to post their photo, so I'm going to show how to get it done. Let me share my screen and show you the photo we're talking about here. Screen share, desktop, start screen share. There we go. Let's go ahead and hide this window so we can see what's going on and hide that window. All right, here we go. So here on the Photoshop Elements Facebook page, Cynthia reported or requests some help on how to take this image and edit out the toilet paper that's on the wall in the background. So let's see how we get that done. I'm going to switch over to Photoshop Elements. This is version 14, and I've already got this photo open, downloaded it from Facebook, and just opened it. Hopefully you've got a higher resolution version at home, and you can use these same techniques to achieve the goal of getting rid of the toilet paper, but hopefully get some better results if you've got a higher resolution photo. Anyway, I've got it open up here in Photoshop Elements 14, the very latest version of Photoshop Elements. But the techniques I'm going to show will work in all previous versions. So if you don't have version 14, of course, I think you should go out and buy it because we've done a lot of really great things in version 14, but not to worry if you've got an earlier version, you can do the same stuff at home. So step one is to come over here and use our marquee selection tool. Just to note, I'm in expert mode. So up here at the top of the window, there's different modes of the editor, Elements Live, Quick, Guided, or Expert. I'm going to do everything in expert mode. So go ahead and switch to expert if you're not already there. Over on the right-hand side is our layers panel. If the layers panel is not showing, it might look like this. If it does look like that, just down here in the bottom, this very first icon in the bottom right is called layers. Go ahead and click on layers, and that's going to open up your layers panel on the right. Okay, so step one with our photo open is to use our rectangular marquee tool over here in the left, the top right one in our select section. And start in the top left corner and just kind of drag down. I've got my mouse button held down, so I'm dragging. You can see the kind of marching ants that show my rectangular selection. And bring that over just right to the edge of the toilet paper roll holder and let go. And that's going to select this left edge of our image. Now we want to come up to the edit menu and select copy, and that's going to copy all of those pixels. The same thing, but edit paste, and that's going to take those pixels that we just copied. You can see over here on the top right in our layers panel, it pasted them automatically into a new layer for us. Just as an example real quickly, I'm going to click this little eyeball right here on our original layer to hide it, and now you can see all that we've got in what's called layer one are those pixels that we copied and pasted. So let me re-show our photo layer. Now I want to pick our move tool. So over here on the top left in the select section is our move tool. So select the move tool, make sure this layer is selected, and then under the image menu in the rotate section, down kind of a little lower than halfway, is something called flip layer horizontal. So go ahead and select flip layer horizontal, and that's going to take this layer one, flip all of the pixels horizontal in it. You can see now things kind of don't match up because we've got this left edge over here on the right. The reason that we did that is because we now want to click on that and hold our mouse button down and our shift key down and just drag it to the right. And you can see if we put it right up against, if you look down at where the toilet paper is down here, if we put it right at the edge of the toilet paper roll, since we grabbed it and flipped it, the two edges now look similar. So we don't get this kind of thing that we're seeing up here going on down here or all along this whole edge. They actually blend together nicely. Okay, so that's step one. We've now been able to move it over and cover up part of the toilet paper roll, but we actually want to be able to cover up more than that. So let's do it again. We're going to do it a little bit differently. Over here in our layers panel, I'm going to click on layer one, and I'm going to drag and drop layer one icon or thumbnail right here on this little icon here. This is our new layer icon. When I do that, it's just going to make a copy. So it took all of the pixels here in layer one and made an exact copy here. I called it layer one copy. Now we want to flip that again. So back to image, rotate, flip layer horizontal. That took this layer one copy and flipped it again. So with our move tool, come over here, click on those pixels, hold the shift key down so it only goes horizontally, and again drag it to the right and line it up right with the edge of that previous layer one that we copied, flipped, and moved. There you go, something like that. And we still got some more space here that we want to cover up, so let's do it one more time. Drag layer one copy up to our new layer icon. We now have layer one copy two. Image, rotate, flip layer horizontal, move tool, shift key down, drag to the right until we get it right where we want it up against the edge of that previous copy so that we don't really have any edge distortion going on between the different layers. Okay, so you can see we now got that area covered up pretty good. Again, if I turn off my background layer, you can see we now have a wider set of pixels that match the background of your photo. So I'm going to turn that back on. The next step, actually, excuse me. The next step is to actually merge these three layers together. So hold your shift key down, click on all three layers, and then right-click on one of them and select Merge Layers. And that's actually going to just take all the pixels of this layer, merge them into a single layer so we can work with them as a single layer of pixels. All right, so that's pretty cool. We've got our toilet paper covered up. Let me hide this layer one copy two. So you can see we've still got the toilet paper underneath. We're just covering it up with these pixels that match our background. So of course the next step is how do we get the guy, his shoulder and his arm to show back through. That's where we use something called layer masks. So this little icon right here is called a layer mask. And if we click on that, it's going to create a layer mask on this layer that we had selected. This isn't a detailed tutorial on layer masks, but basically anywhere on a layer mask where there are white pixels painted, this layer shows. Anywhere there are black pixels painted, this layer is hidden. And so with the layer mask selected, you can just click on it to select it, make sure there's this little lighter blue rectangle around the edges of it to indicate it's selected. Now come over on the left, grab our brush, and in our color chip selector, make sure black is selected. If it's not, you've got some other wacky color selected. A really easy way to select black is to click this tiny little icon down here, and that's going to select black and white, and then click these arrows to make black the foreground color. All right, so with our brush selected, we want to pick a brush. There's lots of different brushes in here. We want to pick one that's got kind of some soft edges. So go ahead and pick one that kind of looks like this with this sort of softish feel to it. To start off with, we want our opacity all the way up to 100% and adjust the size of your brush accordingly. You can adjust your brush using this brush slider, or a keyboard shortcut to make the brush bigger or smaller is the right bracket or left bracket keys. Those are the keys to the right of your P key on your keyboard. So the left bracket will make a brush smaller, a right bracket will make a brush bigger. It's a really good shortcut to know if you're doing any kind of painting because you're often resizing your brush. So I'm going to start off with it, reasonably big, maybe something like that. Again, make sure your layer mask is selected, and then just start painting over here. And you can see wherever I paint black on top of that layer mask, you can see in the thumbnail where I painted black, that layer is getting hidden. So let me excuse me. Let me hide my photo layer again so you can kind of see what's going on, right? So it's just hidden. Now, the real cool thing about layer masks is I'm not actually erasing these pixels, I'm just hiding them. If I switch from black as the color I'm painting with to white, and then paint again, they come right back. So I can erase and revise any pixel on a layer by either painting with black or painting with white. And you can see I'm using a soft brush, so it's not really a hard edge where I paint. It's kind of this soft edge between the two. So let me re-show my photo again. And using that technique with my layer mask thumbnail selected, I'm just going to paint around on this image. I want to bring his shirt back, bring his pants back, and initially don't worry about being real precise. We just want to kind of do some rough painting back in. We'll get more precise in just a second. So get his hand back, get his arm back, get his shirt back, get his pants back, kind of all that kind of good stuff. All right. So now what we can do is zoom in a little bit, top left, grab the zoom tool, zoom in here where we want to do some fine tuning back to our brush. And we painted with white to bring his hand back, but it kind of over painted, and it's bringing some of the toilet paper roll back. Again, if I hide this layer, you can see what's going on, right? We're showing and hiding the pixels of this background layer that got pasted over top of our photo just by painting black and white onto our layer mask. So now if I've got my layer mask selected, if I switch to white and I make my brush a little smaller, again using the left bracket key, the one that's just to the right of the P key on your keyboard. And now when I paint here, I'm showing that layer. So I can come in with a really small brush, be pretty precise, paint around the edges of his hand, get rid of some of the rest of this stuff that was hidden. I can even, if I want, get rid of this kind of shadow by painting around there. Maybe I like the shadow, maybe I don't. It's kind of up to you as to what final result you're after, but I can get rid of the shadow by, again, showing that background layer, which is actually, again, on top of my photo, which gives the simulation that my background is behind the guy's hand. So I want to clean this up a little bit, maybe make my brush really small, get in here, clean up the edges, something like that. You know, sort of the more time you spent, the better result you might have with your photo. Maybe let's even get rid of the shadow there. Make our brush a little bit bigger because we want to clean up this area between his arm and his body. So again, just do some painting in there to bring that background back and hide some parts of the photo that we don't want. There we go. Maybe something like that. Again, if I kind of go too far, just switch from painting with white to painting with black and paint again, and it's going to hide that layer that's on top, thereby showing the layer that's underneath, in this case, his pants. So just a quick pan around to see if everything's looking pretty good. That's looking pretty good. Double click on the hand, and that will zoom us all the way back out. So we can do another quick check, and that's actually looking pretty good. Maybe right here on his, what's that called? The base of the thumb. Let's zoom in there a little bit. I see a little bit of gray that we might want to kind of fix up a little bit there. Again, a paintbrush. We want to hide the gray, so paint with black, and just kind of in here to bring that part of his thumb back a little bit. And then maybe paint with white again with a really small brush. Get rid of this shadow if we don't like it. Okay, there we go. Back to double click on the hand to get us all the way down. Okay, that's looking pretty good. When we're done getting rid of the toilet paper, again, let me hide this layer that's on top of our photo. So you can see the toilet paper roll is actually still there. Let me hide that as well. So we're seeing no layers. If I show this top layer, we basically created a bunch of pixels that look like this. And since those pixels are on top of our photo, it makes it look like the background is clean. So we're all done there. We can do a file save. Depending upon how you want to use the photo, you might want to pick the proper format. We can save it in the Photoshop format, which is the native format of Photoshop. If we want to do some further editing later, that will preserve the layers and masks and all that great information we just created. But if I just need a JPEG file because I'm going to go print it or upload it to a website or something, I can save some space by selecting JPEG as the format. Give it a name up here in the top. We'll call it fixed, or maybe call it no toilet paper. Oops, if I could type, there we go. No toilet paper. No toilet paper.jpg. That's a mouthful. I'm going to save it to my desktop and just hit save. I've got some options for my JPEG, sort of what quality. The higher quality, the bigger the file. So if file size is important to you, select the lower quality. If file size doesn't matter, go ahead and select maximum or high. High is probably good enough for most photos. And just click OK, and that will save a copy of a JPEG version of this to my desktop. And then I can do whatever I want with it. So there you go. That's how we would get rid of the toilet paper in the background of a photo like this. Hope that helps. I'll come back and post a link to this video tutorial on your Facebook posting along with the JPEG file of the result. Take care, and thanks for hanging out with Bob.